welcome to Yoga Pilates Fusion. I think it's possible you already know that that's what's happening. So we are going to start with 2 blocks or a rolled up blanket. And then also we're going to do some stretches with a strap at the end of our practice today. So if you have a yoga strap, you can get that and have it handy nearby. If you don't have a yoga strap, anything that sort of could act in that capacity, like this is a scarf, that would work really nicely. You could use a dog leash or a belt, anything like that. So if you get those props, either a blanket or a couple yoga blocks, or you can do, and a strap. How's that? Those things, okay? Now, if you're using the blanket, what you're gonna do with it is fold it. So this is folded once in half, so the fringes come together, folded once in half the next way, and then I go ahead and fold it one more time, but you can keep it that larger size and roll it up from there if you want it to be a little bit thinner. What I do is I fold it one more time, and then I just fold it into thirds, and then that gives me essentially like a couple of inches thick and about the length of my spine, and I just put that right down the middle of my back so that my shoulders can open around it, and that's a really nice, fairly comfortable option. If you have 2 yoga blocks, then you can follow along with what I'm going to do now. So, one yoga block I'm going to put down. I like it going crossways so that both my shoulder blades rest on it. Some people prefer it to be more narrow, so you can experiment. And I'm going to put this right under my upper back so that my shoulder blades rest on it. If, like, the bottom edge of my shoulder blade is going to come pretty close to the bottom edge of the block. So that's pretty high up the back there, guys. So I kind of set my shoulder blades on here and then kind of feel out how comfortable it is. I might need to go tiny bit higher. Yep, that's better. And then put a block under the head. Now I like my head slightly elevated. Some people may want their head at the same level, or you can even let your head, if you've got a long enough neck, you can let your head dangle onto the floor. I do not have a long enough neck, and so it's better for me to keep this a little bit closer to a little, to keep it a little bit higher, a little bit closer to level. So then once you get in place, just let yourself rest. We're going to try to let some space develop around the arms right here, in the armpit, and at the shoulder joint. Try to cultivate a little deeper breath. We're going to take 2 more breaths where we are. Now, if you're using blocks, you can take the one out and then roll a little bit to your side to take the opposite one out. The blanket should come out fairly easily. Just roll a bit to the side and then take that out. And then once you're back on your back, just take a moment And notice, oh, that upper back. Oh, it feels nice. So one of the things I like to do when I've had the block under my shoulders is reach the arms up so the shoulder blade comes around the side a little bit, and then just rock back and forth right in between the shoulder blades. That feels really nice. Give that a little massage. All right, and then when you're ready, bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little bit of a hug here. We'll take the legs over to one side. Now you can stack them up, you can wrap one around the other. If you need a little extra support, you can take your block, put that on the bottom so they sort of lean into the block. Just kind of pick what you think is going to be best so that you can get a nice little stretch through the side of your hip. And then roll your upper back as close to the ground as you can and extend out through this left arm. So I'm going to move in two directions. I'm going to take my hip that direction. I'm going to take, towards my knees. I'm going to take my shoulder towards the floor. I'm going to try to use my abdominal muscles to make that happen. So I'm actively twisting in those two directions. Take one more big breath and exhale your way back to the center. So I start by bringing the knee in and then following that up. Give yourself a moment to rinse out. Notice how that went. Oh. Same thing, but go in the other direction. So we'll take the legs over to the opposite side. And again, make a decision about how you want to wrap the legs or not. Then I'm going to actively roll my shoulder towards the floor and actively bring my hip towards the knee side of things. Take deep breaths. Okay, so I'm going to take a nice big breath, and then exhale, come on back to the center, and give that a little rinse. Okay. So keeping the upper body nice and stable, keeping the knees about over the top rim of the pelvis. That's where they're going to kind of have their neutral zone. We'll take them over to one side. You can either extend both legs, extend one leg, or curl both knees in towards your armpit. Then returning them to about that waist height, come over to the opposite side, same idea. Curl them in or straighten out one leg. When you get to the middle, give yourself a little bit of a lift just to kind of pick the pelvis up off the floor a little bit. All right, so try to keep the shoulders nice and stable. Make sure all of the muscles in the center of the body here are nice and toasty warm. So we're going to do one more set. When you're even, just go one more time to each side. And then when you get back to the middle and you've lifted your pelvis, and we'll just pause right there. All right. So we're gonna stretch the legs out nice and long. Give yourself a big head to toe stretch. It's possible that if you're like me, you've traveled a bit down the mat, you'll come back up. All right. So, I felt nice. I need one more breath. All right. So we're gonna swing this right leg in. Give it a little snuggle. We're gonna curl the shoulders up off the mat. And then we're gonna take that left leg and reach out. So we're gonna curl ourselves up, come back and switch legs, curl it up. Switch legs, curl it up. So I'm reaching out nice and active, trying to get that little extra bit of curl without using the neck, right? So the head presses into your hand. Exhale and use up any space you got left. One more set. Bring both knees in. Give yourself a moment. Now you can keep your hands behind your head, press your head back, or you can let go and bring the arms in. We're going to extend the legs and the arms and bring them back, okay? Extend, bring them back. Try to keep your back neutral as best you can. If you get a little bit stronger, get your shoulder blades a little bit higher up off the floor and hold that steady. Good, we got two more. Last one. Now you can keep your head in your hands or put your head down onto the floor. Bring your hands in next to your hips. Press the shoulders into the floor nice and firm. Extend the legs, glue the heels together. We're going to lower down for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Come on back. Whew. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 3, 2, 1, and back. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Come on back. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Come on back. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on back. And one more time. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on back. Give yourself a little back massage. Or windshield wiper your legs out. Whatever seems like the right answer. Maybe all of the above. All right, yogis, extend yourself from fingertips to toe tips. Give it a big stretch maybe to both sides. Open up the hip flexors a little bit. See if we can get that to relax just a notch. Right in front of the hip. Because we're probably going to overuse them in a second, but we'll do our best. So we're going to do the roll up. And I am going to do the roll up in 2 halves. So I'm going to do the upper part of the belly first and just roll up as far as I can without throwing myself forward with the hip flexors. And then I'll do the second part, lowering down and coming back up. And that'll get my hip flexors into the mix. So you can do this your way. Roll up continuously, go for it. So rolling up as far as I can and then coming back down. Really concentrating on this upper part of the belly. Really drawing that back. Finding those lift moments. And then just seeing if I can get a little bit higher each time without over triggering my hip flexors. I'm going to do one more like that. Okay, now I'm coming all the way up. And I'm going to do the back half of this. Okay, so I'm gonna curl down as far as I can go. As soon as I feel the hip flexors kick on, I'm gonna pause there, come on back up, and then stretch over the legs. So nice and tall, curl down, come back up, stretch over the legs. Nice and tall, and then curl down. You might be able to get a little farther each time, feeling the hip flexors do the work. Right at that point, pause there. Nice and tall, fold forward. I'm gonna do it one more time. And we're gonna wind up sitting up. So if you're doing a full roll up, just come all the way back up to sitting and then fold over your legs. And that's where we're gonna end this particular movement pattern, whichever version you did. All right, yogis. We're gonna come up to all fours. Now, once you get here, you can do some movements to kind of rinse out any tension from your back. Oh, I know I like them. Now we're going to do a little bit of a wrist stretch. So we're going to turn the hands out to the side, and then that might be plenty, or you can try leaning back and rounding your back a bit. And then shift the weight back forward. You can try pulling open the collarbones a bit. All right, that could be enough. I do these one at a time because it's pretty intense. So I turn one hand all the way as far around as it'll go, so the fingers point towards me. Instead of spinning from the inside, which throws your elbow out to the side, make sure you spin the fingers around the outside of the curve here. And then we're gonna lean back and round. I'm gonna press my pinky finger and my thumb into the floor nice and firm. And then I'm gonna come back to neutral and rinse out that wrist. I like to roll it a little bit. Okay, spread out the fingers, curl them in. Spread them out, curl them in. Spread them out, curl them in. One more time, spread them out really wide. Curl them in, give that wrist a little shake. Okay, so let's do the other side. So I'm gonna spin this other hand around so the fingers go towards the outside to come in. And then round up and lean into it. Push the pinky finger and the thumb into the floor really firm. That out, spread out the fingers, curl them in, spread them out big, curl them in, spread them out big, curl them in, give it a little roll, give it a little shake, and hopefully the wrists now feel kind of warm and a little bit nice. We're going to tuck our toes under and lean back into the toes. Now some people won't feel anything in their toes here, so you guys can sit on your heels if that helps. For me, just curling them under is leaning into it is all I really need. Okay, so then we're gonna come back to all fours and maybe even shift the weight slightly forward. One leg is gonna stretch all the way back. We're gonna roll over the toes and roll back. Press through the heel, over the toes and back. Toes and back. One more. Okay. That guy comes down, do the other side, stretch that one back. Roll over the toes and back. Over the toes and back. Over the toes and back. And one more time. All right. Let's take this into a child's pose. You can have the hips a little bit further forward. We're going to take the right arm underneath the left. Try to let your head rest on the floor. Now I'm going to use my right arm kind of over my head and then press myself back into the twist. You could wrap that arm behind your back if that feels like a better option. Sometimes it feels nice to also kind of adjust the hips and see where that wants to land. more breath here. Now my right arm is coming out of there, so depending on which arm is under you, you're gonna take that arm and then it's gonna reach straight out in front, and then you'll take the opposite leg out and turn that into spinal balance. Try to drop in through the sides of the waist a little bit. One more big breath. Beautiful. Float the knee down. We're going to take the opposite arm underneath. So taking that guy under, putting the shoulder on the mat and the head rests light. And then you can roll yourself a little deeper into the twist and wrap your arm over your back. Couple more breaths. All right, so we're gonna get that left arm out. To adjust my right arm first, and then the right leg goes back. Stretch between those two, hug in through the sides of the waist. Longer, one last breath. And then we're going to come on down. Now, if downward dog is not for you, you can go directly to a forward bending position where your head is held the same as your hips, or you can take a child's pose. So we're going to take that downward dog if you're up for it. And then if you're not, you just sub in whatever you're going to do. And give yourself a little bit of movement in the shoulders. When you feel your shoulders get good and strong on your back, pause there and walk your heels up and down or move through your feet in some way. You can move the hips around. And then when you feel like you're ready, you just walk your downward dog together. Give everything a little bit of a rinse. Now I've got my feet, I don't know, maybe mat's distance apart. If the edge of the mat were a rectangle, I'd be right on the edge. And I'm gonna turn the toes about 45 degrees out. I might wind up slightly more, depending on how my knee bends. So I'm gonna sway over to my right, and I'm gonna keep the right knee a little bit bent for now and straighten out the left leg. And then I'm going to slowly try to switch that, bend the left knee and try to straighten out the right leg. It might not want to go all the way straight. So bend the left, or bend the right, straight left, and then switch it. So I'm getting a stronger hamstring stretch when I have that right leg straighter, and I'm just easing my way into that stretch. Okay, one more time on that side. All right, and then I'm going to come back to the center for a moment. See if I can feel a difference between the two thighs. Okay, sway over to the left. Left knee is bent, right leg is straight. And then I'm going to switch which one is straight and which one is bent. And then switch back. And switch. And switch back. Straighter left leg. Back to a bent knee. One more time. Straighter left leg. Ease into it. Come back to a bent knee and then come around to the middle. So we're going to come up halfway. And then come all the way up to standing. Give yourself a nice big stretch when you get there. Okay. You're going to find yourself in a mountain pose. This is an excellent time if you have to put your hair up or fix your clothing, get a little drink of water. Do that first. And then find that mountain pose and pause. So your shoulders are going to fall down your back. Let the arms be nice and easy. Get a little taller. Point your toes forward. And just take an overall kind of temperature, if that's the right word. Just sort of feel, what's it like to be in this pose? What does my left leg feel like? What does my right leg feel like? Is there a difference between the two? You're going to sweep the arms up, or you can come straight up the middle if you've got too many plants in your way. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Now we're going to hold that halfway position. We're going to pick this left leg up. We're going to try to reach it back behind us and float it in the air for a moment for warrior 3. If you fall, catch. And then come back and set it up again. If you fall, catch. Come back, set it up again. We're going to try to do one more breath. Excellent. So now we're going to step this guy back into a warrior 1 shape. So the warrior 1, foot's all the way on the ground. I've got the heel nicely planted. And then I'm going to face forward. Take the arms up. Peel the elbows back so the shoulders squish together, and then push them forward. Up, back, push, up, back, push. Now once you're pushed out front, pause right there. We're going to take the left elbow underneath the right elbow. See if you can catch hold of your thumb or your hand. If you can't, don't worry about that. Take the elbows up, press the legs away from each other, nice and firm. One more big breath, kind of getting this little shoulder opener here. And then we're going to release the arms. Now we're going to turn towards this diagonal and fold in. Now this is where you might use the strap. So if you can lace your fingers together behind your back and get your arms up, awesome. If you can't, then you can take your strap between your hands. And that'll give you a little bit of room for your arms to come up. So then we're going to let ourselves kind of fall into the space, into humble warrior, and then you can use the strap if you want it bigger. You can get the arms up a little bigger. You can make your hands wider apart. Now I'm going to slowly vacillate between a straight right leg and a bent knee. Okay, keeping the shoulder stretch, straighter right leg, bent knee. One more, straighter right leg, bent knee. Release the arms. Okay, now we're going to come back into down dog. So set things off to the side. Step yourself back. Again, you want to substitute something, you can just stay where you were or come to child's pose. We're going to come forward into a plank. So out of child's pose, it can be modified, and you can modify it anyway. Draw your low belly in nice and snug. Hold it steady here for 2 more breaths. And hug that low belly in. And then we're lowering down, coming into cobra. Come on back down. Now slide your hands back a couple inches. Press the legs into the ground nice and firm. Lift into cobra. Come on down, slide your hands back almost to your waist. Press into the legs. Lift the chest and then float the legs up and draw the elbows back. Let your head and neck fairly loose along for the ride. You can lift the legs higher if it feels okay for your back. 1 more breath. And then come on back down. Press yourself back up to plank. And then back into down dog. 4. You can sub in all fours position here. Right leg goes up. Bring it in. Curl up around it. Stretch back. Bring it in. Curl up around it. Stretch back, sink into your heel a bit. And then we're going to step the right leg as far forward as it goes in 1 step. Bring the left foot up to meet it. Come up halfway. Fold. Come all the way up to standing. Give it a big stretch. Then find that mountain pose. And once you're there, feel. Now, is there a difference left to right side, or just in general in the way your body feels? Take a nice big breath, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Hold that heart up a little high. We're going to shift the weight into the left leg, take that right leg up into the warrior three. And again, anytime you fall, just catch yourself and come back. You need to hold on to something, hold on to something. You could even take one of your blocks, put it on the floor, and then hold with just one hand. See if you can get your hips nice and level. Reach. Make this outer hip do some work. It's nice. Last breath here. Okay, so we're going to step back into warrior one. Ooh. It doesn't work exactly. Wiggle your feet until it does. Arms come up. Bring them back. Oh, push forward. Come on up. Bring them back. Oh, push them forward. One more time. Bring them back. Push them forward. Take that right arm onto the bottom. Stretch through your legs. Breathe. Groan a little bit if you need to. Last big breath here. All right, rinse out that. We're going to go for this little forward, slightly to the diagonal fold. And again, maybe lacing the fingers together, maybe using a strap so that your arms will come up a bit. Loosen up through your neck. And then I'm going to see if I can straighten out my left leg and then bend it again and straighten it out. And bend it again. I'm going to do that twice more. Release the arms, step back into downward facing dog. You can of course take an all fours position here or a child's pose. All right, so we're going to come into our plank, either a full plank or a modified plank. Draw that navel in, lift through your shoulders a bit, hold steady. Last big breath here, and we're going to lower down. We're coming into a cobra. Slide your hands back a little bit, come into cobra. Okay, last one here, slide the hands almost to the waist. Lift the legs, draw the elbows back. Lengthen through your neck. Oh, see if you can get your chest a little higher off the ground. Last breath. We're going to come on down. Now, yogis, we're going to pause for just a moment. Do a little windshield wipers. Oh. Now, I'm going to take the right leg and flip it all the way around, which is going to put us in a seated position on the mat. So you're sitting up. You might be facing the wrong direction. It's hard to know. From here, we're going to take a boat pose. So we're going to swing ourselves into boat. Now, if you can grab your ankles, you can grab the ankles. If you want to take hold of your big toes or the sides of your feet, you can do that. Now lift through your heart, lengthen through your back. See if those legs will go all the way straight. They may not. We're going to take it out a little bit wider. Now we're going to let go, and you can hold onto the upper part of the ankle. You can hold on near the lower part of the calf. I'm going to bend my knees a bit. We're gonna rock and then come back up for the open leg rocker, okay? Rock back, rock up, catch that boat. Rock back, rock up, catch that boat. Rock back. Oh, you got the idea. 3 more times. I'm gonna try a little bit higher. Yep, 1 more. Beautiful. So then we're gonna come all the way back around and into downward dog. Pause for a moment. Feel where that landed you. Take that left leg up, bring it in, give it a curl, stretch it back, bring it in, curl up, stretch it back, sink into your right heel a bit, step it as far forward as it'll go, meet it with your right foot, come up halfway, exhale, fold, come all the way up to standing. Oh, give yourself a stretch. And then find your mountain pose and feel. How's it going out there, yogis? So I feel a little different than the first time for sure. And now my right and left sides are a little bit more even, which is nice. So we're gonna turn this into a balancing pose that you get to pick. So you could do a tree pose, or a dancer pose, or an eagle, something like that. I'm gonna choose a tree. And then whatever pose you picked, give yourself a moment to kind of find that steady place. It might not be so steady. Can you find a steady place inside the wobble is the question. So nice big breath. Pick up your left foot. We're gonna step back into warrior 2. And it might have landed just right, or you might have had to fix it a bit. Wherever it landed, make sure your hips are happy. Come on back to reverse and over to side angle. And we're concentrating on lengthening through the side waist on both ends of this. So we're lengthening back and over. Lengthen it back and over. Okay, 1 more time. Now, we're gonna straighten out our front leg. Come all the way back into a reverse triangle. Oh, stretch that whole side out. And then come into your triangle pose the way you like to get into it. I'm gonna do a little half bind with my shoulder. So I'm gonna wrap my arm behind my back on the top. And then I'm gonna turn my head down so I can stretch between my ear and my collarbone. You get to do it your way, yogis. So pick your pose. One more big breath. All right, so if you wanted to add a vinyasa here, you can step back into down dog, go to a plank, and then lower down, come into whatever back bend you want, come back to down dog, and then we'll all join up together at the top of the mat. You want to skip the vinyasa, just step it forward. Take a nice big breath. Exhale out a big center into your mountain pose, and then shift yourself into the balancing pose you chose last time, whether that was a tree or something else. Finding some steady place inside of the wobble, even if all it is your mind, which I think is the hardest to study. 1 more big breath. Beautiful. Take that right leg, step it back. So now we're in a warrior 2 again. When you get it all settled, come back to reverse and over for side angle. And again, we're concentrating on the side waist, doing the work here. hang on. Gotta rescue my unicorn from the tiny fangs. Oh. All right, yogis. So we're gonna come back into a reverse triangle. You're gonna take yourself into a triangle that you like. With the binder, without, your choice. Nice big breath. Beautiful. So we're gonna step ourselves back to down dog again. If you want to throw in a plank and a lower down and an up dog and then come back to down dog, you can. Otherwise, just hold down dog or an equivalent position. An all fours position would work. And then we're all going to wind up laying on our right side. So, finding your way so that your arm is up and your head is resting on that. If you'd rather put your arm up front and put your head on a block, you can. Make sure that your yoga strap is within reach before you get yourself settled in here. And then just make sure you've got a little bit of room to work. So hips are stacked up, shoulders are stacked up so they're nice and level over top of each other. There's not a leaning forward. Hug in through the sides of the waist, especially see if you can lift the waist on the bottom. We're gonna take the feet behind us and then lift them up, okay? So we're ready for the little clams or the butterflies. So you're gonna open the knees. You can just hold that for a beat and then close it up again, or you can open the knee, straighten out that top leg, bring it back and close it up. If it hurts your knee, do the other one, okay? As this outer hip isn't doing its job enough for you yet, if your knee is in trouble. We're going to try to do 4 more. Nice and smooth and steady. 2 more to go. Beautiful. Now we're going to straighten the legs back out. Kind of line everything back up. Draw that top leg forward. You can leave it straight or you can bend at the knee. I don't know why I think that helps, but I do. Oh, my mat is slippery today. There we go. Now we're going to lift the leg on the bottom. We're going to hug up through the side of the waist, and then we're going to pulse up through that inner thigh. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to make circles. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Circle the other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause right there, lift that leg, hug through the side waist. Here we go, pulsing. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now bring that leg down. We're gonna take this top leg and curl it in, and you can either grab hold of the big toe or you can use the yoga strap. Now, I don't know how much room you've got. I'm going to have to make a little bit of an adjustment. So once I've rolled onto my back here, I'm going to give myself a tiny bit more room by scooting to the side. Okay. I might go off your screen, but I hope not. Okay. So I've got my foot in the strap. You can hold on anywhere the strap is convenient. I'm going to stretch the right leg out. So my left leg is the one in the strap. And then I'm going to pause here with this hamstring stretch. So one more opportunity to give these hamstrings some love. You can do a little bit of movement here, bending at the knee and going a little straighter. We did that kind of movement in the other poses. Or you can hold it a little more steady. Make sure it doesn't feel like it's picking your pelvis up off the floor or tearing at the butt bone. You want to feel it right in the middle of your thigh. Okay, if it's hurting your low back, it's too far. You can go farther away from your body or bend your knee more. So we're going to spend about 3 more breaths or so here. Okay, so nice big inhale, and then we're going to take the leg out to the side. I'm going to run into my furniture a little bit, but if you don't have anything that you're going to land on and it feels too vulnerable, you could stick your blanket right under the edge of your hip or your yoga block, and it'll give you something to work with. Now, if you can do it, roll that right hip down and hug in through the sides of the waist, and then just engage through the right leg a little bit, so that there's a little more structure happening right there on that right side. And then this left inner thigh is getting a little stretch. And again, you can bend the knee and add that support to help your back. If it feels vulnerable at the knee, definitely add support or back off. Hug the sides of the waist in a little bit while you breathe as best you can. Okay, so we're going to do 2 more breaths, just as we are. Now take a really big inhale, and with your exhale, hug in your navel, bring your leg back. Now we're going to take the strap off for now, and we're going to take both legs and bring them in and take them over to the right. So now we're laying with the legs stacked up. Now for this one, if you don't want to let your head rest in this kind of slightly awkward position, you can put your blanket or your block underneath. What we're going to need is enough room for the arm to move in an arc over the head. So just make sure you've got the space for that. Nothing's going to get in your way. So your left hand is on top. We're going to take that arm up over the head like an arc, an arch, a rainbow, whatever you want to call it. Come back to the center. Reach over your head, stretch out to the left, and then come back to the right, okay? Reach over your head, stretch out, come on back. Reach over your head, stretch out through that chest muscle, come on back. We got 2 more of those to go. Reach, come back, 1 more time, reach, and come back. All right, yogis, we got another side to go. So I'm going to rotate myself around. Taking my block and my strap with me. You guys might be able to just move the phone to the other side, I don't know. So we're going to stack it up so the head is resting on the arm. I'm now resting on my left side. This is my right side, right shoulder, right hip. Nice and stable. Knees are bent, feet are lifted. Make sure the hips and the shoulders are still stable. Knees open, extend out, bring it together and close it up. So we're going to do that nice and smooth, moving like there's a little bit of resistance, almost like we're under the water. So we're going to do 4 more of these. 2 more. Pick up that bottom side waist. Beautiful. Now bringing the legs back down, nice and straight. Take that top leg over the top. Decide whether you want the foot on the ground or not. Lift your left leg up. Okay, lift through that side waist. Try to hold the hips and the shoulders as stable as possible. Pulse the leg up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to circle it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Circle it the other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it steady. Lift. Lift from that side waist. Pulse it up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let that leg lower. Woo, feels good, doesn't it? And then we're going to take this guy into the strap. And again, you can hold onto your big toe if you want to. Make whatever adjustments you need to for the space. And we'll start with the hamstrings. I'm going to let this left leg get a little bit more integrated. Hug in through the sides of my waist. Bend the knee as you need, or lower down a bit more. Oh, I like to pull my toes down and kind of work the calves. So bending the knee and taking a little bit of pressure out of the hamstrings feels nice for that. Nice deep breaths, yogis. Taking one more big breath here. Let go with a big okay, we're gonna take a big inhale and then exhale. The leg's gonna come out to the side, and again you can add the support of a block or blanket, anything that'll kind of give you a little bit of support for that leg if it feels better for your inner thigh or your knee or your back. Let's turn this left side on a little bit, hug in through the side of the waist. Engage a little bit through the leg. I like to try to lift my kneecaps so my quads are engaged. It just kind of creates a little bit more structure here. It's fun to work with. Okay, we're going to take 4 more breaths. Last one. Okay, so we're going to come back. We're going to roll all the way onto the side here. Again, the arms are going to go straight out in front, so I'm going to give myself a little support for my head. I just need to make sure I've got a full range of motion here. I'm not going to run into furniture or pets or whatever I got. Okay, so arms are straight out in front. The right arm is going to make an arc, and we're going to stretch into that arc and come all the way back. So stretch the arm into it. Oh, come all the way back. Stretch into it. Oops. Oh, come all the way back. Stretch into it. Oh, this feels so good on my shoulder when I'm done. Ooh. All right, we're going to do it twice more. Big stretch and round. Oh. Try to avoid my poor little plant. Oh, stretch around. Oh. Come on back. Oh. So, yogis, we're going to roll onto our backs. Take just a moment to kind of rinse everything out. If you happen to have a furry coworker wandering by, you can give kisses or snuggles. And then we're going to stretch ourselves out. And take a couple moments just to relax the body. And this is sort of like mountain pose except laying down. So find that mountain pose notion again. And then feel your body. And see if it feels any different than it did at the beginning. To your breath for a bit. And just feel the breath kind of drop down all the way down to the low belly. You might even be able to feel it down through your legs as well. And then just feel that exhale gently release. take a deep breath all the way to the tippy toes. Let go with a really big sigh. I might need 2 of those. And then wiggle your fingers and toes. Stretch out fingers and toes. Give them another wiggle. Stretch them out. Then we're going to work the wrist and ankles. Oh, I'm going to do a little banana stretch each direction. Before, giving myself one more little back massage before we go away from each other today. So yogis, thank you for joining me for Yoga Pilates Fusion this morning. Let's take a big breath together before some of you head off to work. Big sigh. Namaste, beautiful yogis.